Here we go. Oh, look at us. We're live. Hello and welcome. We are here, Ashley, and we're going to say Carrie Ann. Quirky Cosmo, though.
Yeah.
Carrie Ann, a.k.a. Quirky Cosmo. Yes. And we're here to talk about the winter solstice and the great conjunction. They're happening right now. So we're going to bring through some understanding and transmission to help you get the best out of you can today. Get the best out. That sounds weird. But anyways.
To squeeze your fruit, to juice it.
Yes. As much juice as we can from it. Exactly. And it already happened, right?
We're still in it though. I mean, it's hot. It's hot. It's like 10. It's like, well, yeah, it was like this morning. It was earlier this morning at like between 5 and 5 a.m. and well, my time. So it's different for everybody.
Right? Yeah. And like the winter solstice isn't the same for the people that are in like Australia, because we're in winter and we have the longest nights and they have the longest days because they're on the other side, the other hemisphere. So yeah,
they're feeling the warmth start coming back in, and we're just feeling the bone crunching cold over here. I can't really say much. I'm in Florida, so it's not that cold, but still, it's cold.
Johanna said 5:02 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Yeah, so 2 in the morning for me.
Yeah. I had the weirdest dream this last night. It was like really scary, and I was like, I woke up and I was like, whoa, that's not okay. That's not how I'm starting my day. Go back to bed. And yeah, it was not cool. But I was definitely woke up to like the energy of it. And so there's like with Saturn, it's a contraction aspect, and Jupiter, it's an expansion. So it's like to contract, to let go of these timelines that we're moving out of. That's really what I was like, okay, that's not happening timeline anymore. Close it. I have the power to say no,
Yes. Yeah, I mean, I was looking at a lot of stuff today, because today, not only was it the portal to the solstice, the portal to the great conjunction, I had tons and tons of people booking today, and then I had an interview, and then we had this, and then I had clients, and I'm never like this hyper scheduled. And my 15 is my radiance, and my 15 is like extremes and like wild woman, and I'm like, I don't want to be regimented and scheduled. Just let me break out of this. I was like, I can't believe I let myself get hyper scheduled, because I hate being hyper scheduled. And so Saturn came in and was like, hey, you got to do something about this, because if we want to bring you people, they're going to be able to just book. And I'm like, okay, Saturn, I'll figure that out, because Jupiter and Saturn are just, Saturn's coming in and telling me, hey, you need to make sure that you have your boundaries and your checks and balances, so that when Jupiter comes in and expands everything, you're going to be okay.
Right. Have everything set up and ready to go. Those foundations ready to roll. Right.
Yes. Yeah.
Beautiful. And that's a beautiful aspect about Saturn too. It's not all like regimented. It has that, but there's a beauty to Saturn. It's like can you give yourself like the nurturing and the nutrients that can you be your own father archetype or masculine archetype if you want to, but it's the father. So it's like, can you be loving? Can you be strong with yourself? Can you pull yourself back up? Can you scheduling? It's not so abrasive. I mean, it can be if you're in a lower frequency of it, but yeah, it's beautiful. I love Saturn.
Yay, Saturn. Well, let's get into our transmission and talk about what we're going to talk about. We have people commenting, hello from Walla Walla, Washington. Hello from Egypt.
Wow.
Johanna says hello. Hi, Anja. Hello, Marwa. Hello, Tamara. Okay.
Hello. I can't see anybody. I cannot see these.
You can't see the comments? I
No.
will let you.
Oh yes, now I can. I had to click on the comments and not the private chat.
There we go.
I'm new to this app that we're on right here. Hey, Johanna. Hello. Walla Walla. Walla Walla.
Hello, Washington. Hello. Hello, Brandy.
I had a babysitter that was from she lived in Walla Walla, Washington before anyways, that's just funny. It popped up. Look at that. Closing of cycles. So I think that's the most important thing is like, we need to recognize first and foremost is that this is a closing of a cycle. Hence why I wore my Looney Tunes. That's all, folks. You know, and we're all a bunch of characters, right? All a bunch of
Yes.
I'm out here tripping up old Bugs Bunny. All right, so it's about like closing these cycles out, closing off this last like 26,000 year cycle. It's like the in breath, the 13,000 year cycle of the in breath, and the 13,000 year out breath, the yin and the yang, the duality. Again, that's like the 12, 21, 2020, all the twos, right? And so it's the closing of the duality and coming into that singularity, that oneness consciousness, and becoming aware that we are the divine embodied. And not only aware of it, but fully embodying, knowing that we are divine, we are spirit, and we are human, having a joyous, beautiful, blissful experience, you know? So that cycle of just turning off the ego programming, the last 26,000 years of you're not enough, and whatever conspiracy theorist, you know, like ideas and philosophies, theologies that have just come up and to get us to where we needed to go, right? To get like, hey, knock, knock. Hey, you're special. You're more than just the flesh and bones. You know, however it showed up, you know, religion, cultures, practices, letting it all go and building from a sense of unity. So I feel like that's one of the keys to understanding what the winter solstice this time around is representing.
I like that interpretation. So speaking of the winter solstice and looking at the stars and the Star of Bethlehem, I like what you were talking about when we were talking about the macrocosm being the same as the microcosm, as within, so without. What is it that you want to tell everybody about, I don't know, the stars and inside and this reflection, because you have like a really strong knowing about that. And we talked about it earlier. So what do you want to share about that?
So for me, this is my perspective, take it as you will. Esoterics is the teachings of within. Everything comes from within. And that most of us understand that we're living in a holographic projected reality. We're biocomputers, and whatever we think, whatever we feel, we perceive. So if you perceive it, you receive it. And so that's our feedback, right? Is our reality. It's our personality, our reality that we're bringing in. And so it's the same with the macrocosmic. So everything is happening inward first, but we see it externally. It goes for the stars. It goes for the planets. My personal opinion is that the star seeds, that we have this huge star seed movement, and take it as you will. It doesn't mean that you cannot connect. You are every star seed, just like every seed is within us. Okay, every element, every mineral, that they're all within us. Earth, air, fire, water, and obviously we're introduced to the ether. The whole idea of the Aquarian age is pouring consciousness, the divine ether, energies, ecstatics, higher mind into the people. So being aware that everything is internally, okay, first and foremost. The star seeds are the plasma, or what we like to call junk DNA. It's the silicate matrix, or the crystalline matrix within the body. So that junk DNA that's been dormant, it's like, oh, the stars are so far away. They are, because they've been suppressed and they're repressed deep, buried deep into the human body. We are the universe. We are the universes. Okay. That's why the multidimensional selves. Okay. Multidimensional aspects are what we like to call, the main star systems that we see, which are connection to the 144,000 cities of light within. So if you turned on all 12 of your DNA strands, and I've done the math for this. So if you turn on all 12 of the DNA strands, you're going to end up activating 144,000 codons. Okay. And so that represents Shambhala, which is the highest. It's the palace, the palace within, right? People call it Hyperborea, Asgard, all of that. It's within. And so the star seed relationship is what we'd consider the macro, the bigger, but essentially it is the micro. It is what is within us, what has been suppressed. So when somebody says they're connecting to their Pleiadian self, well, the Pleiades represents an aspect of the heart, just like Sirius represents the aspect of the heart, and the Great Bear is the mind. So we have these three, which Ursa Major is the Great Bear, the Big Dipper. And so we have these three that are these three trines, or these three star systems that where all this light floods through. Okay, that's the trine. Okay, so the white light, we'll get into that. I know we're going to get into that. But so the macro to the micro is basically everything that you're experiencing externally, to include our star systems and our planets, is in you. Everything is in you. So that's the esoterics. Okay.
Thank you. It's perfect. It's perfect. And you guys are in for a real treat, because Carrie Quirky Cosmo has so much investigation, wisdom, and she just has all the puzzle pieces. And I remember we got on a call earlier. I'm like, I need to make some slides for this, and she had to like put everything on the table. I'm like, whoa, there is just so much here. It's insane. So thank God for people like Carrie, because she is going to refine everything for us and translate it for us so that we can understand it, because she's done so much work to really understand and ascend past these different teachings, and like getting to esoterics and other things. I mean, she started with astrology and just the basic astrology, and then went into that, and then ascended that, and then ascended that, and then ascended that. So this is like years of investigation and like grounding and understanding. It's super cool.
Thanks. You're making me blush.
Stop.
Okay. Oh, what's up? Hey, Dee Dee. Oh, we've got over here Trina, Jessica. Hey, girl, love you. Indigo Lotus. Aw, hey, sister, I love you. Thanks for being here. Aw, I got my homies in the hood.
You got your supporters.
Yeah. If they need explanations, anybody got questions, I'm sure these girls, they've been following me too, like my crazy, like my contemplations. So, no, I appreciate you, Ashley. It's so great that she actually came through and like made these slides for everybody, because I was like, I don't make slides like to explain this. I'm like, I was like, you don't know, you can't, you just, I'm like, oh, right. So Ashley was like, let's put this together. And I was like, okay, so, so I'm really, really grateful for Ashley's talent and like willingness to do this for me. And then she's got the line 1 in her IQ. And I'm a line 6 in our IQ. So she's like, wait.
Exactly. There's a couple areas where she's a line 6 and I'm a line 1. So we kind of like have to bridge together, because she's like looking out from like up from above, and I'm like down here, like putting together the pieces and making the foundation. Hold on, you can't bring us up into the ethers and we don't even know what's happening here. Like, stop for a second.
I don't have a parachute. I don't know how to get back down.
Is this a kite? Are we attached? Like, what? Are we falling or are we rising? I don't know what's happened. I just know I'm in the air.
Oh, that's the best place to be, is the ecstatics.
Yes. Okay, so speaking of the ecstatics and like what's going on in the macrocosm. So you guys know that we have the Great Conjunction and the Winter Solstice together. So if you can look at these two things as portals, we can see that they are kind of like merging together. So it's almost like doubly potent, right? So we have two portals, two wormholes that we can expect miracles through. So we have the Great Conjunction, which is obviously Jupiter and Saturn, and they're conjunct 0 degrees Aquarius. And then we have the winter solstice, which involves the sun and the earth. And actually the winter solstice for the northern hemisphere, we're experiencing our longest nights. So this is when, so solstice, sol means sun, sister means to stand. And so it's the sun standing still, because the axis of the earth pauses and shifts and moves in the opposite direction. So for 3 days, we experience the power of the standstill, and it's the shift in direction. So we're also being called to stand still because we're about to go into a new direction and we're entering into these new portals. So it's not a place where we need to pressure ourselves to make changes out in the world. We need to let the new energies of inspiration build in us. And that's what we're going to be seeing with the transits is you need to allow the pressure to build. So when you hit that cosmic start button, when you start to manifest things into reality, you've built up all of this internal pressure by going into these different energies and transits to collect information and understanding and intention so that when you're ready to hit the go button, you've already gotten into the energy and the alignment of it so that you're ready to be the vessel for it to come down into. So these portals are really, really awesome for us to, just fly off into the new year, get into the Aquarius energy versus Capricornian Earth energy that we've been in for a while. Did you want to say anything in specific about the Great Conjunction or the Winter Solstice, Carrie?
Well, this winter solstice, we also have Mercury involved there as well. So it's like, for me, in a perspective, is like this is gaining. She's got the Mercury on there. So this is us gaining. It's the rainbow bridge. So we are the rainbow bridge. We literally are. We're the rainbow body, and so this is an activation of that rainbow body and a rewiring. And so Mercury being a part of this with the sun illumination. So this specifically, this great conjunction and the winter solstice alignments of the sun and the earth, and with having Mercury there, this is about rewiring the neurological system, the nervous system, the endocrine system, adrenals, whatever you want to call it, creating a new spinal column connectivity there to the well. I think that's what we call it in the back of the head, the well or Brahma, where, or the tomb where Jesus resided for 3 days. And so Mercury rules that. That's the Gemini Virgo, like the communications with the Virgo body. So communicating through the body. And so what we have, the sun, is that illumination. So it's like the illumination of the perspectives, and that heart awareness, right? It's illumination of that heart perspective and the rewiring of how in which we are communicating to our reality. So, and then over there we have Saturn and Jupiter. Jupiter is that higher spiritual awareness, connection into something more, higher philosophies and theologies, experiences, adventures, right? And so Saturn is that bridge. Saturn represents the Capricorn archetype, in which we just read. Well, it doesn't even just represent, it is a part of, it is an archetype. So Capricorn is an archetype of Saturn. And within the 12 facets of the brain or the mind, in which the moon runs through and illuminates every 28 days cycles. So Saturn is bridging us, and it's like, the Capricorn has the threefold function where it goes from the goat, it goes from the old goat, and then it goes into it turns into the unicorn quintessentially, okay? The goat, the sea goat, and then to the unicorn on the top of the mountain. And so what we're seeing here is like what the mountain means is to have that higher perspective, or it's even Christ consciousness. So it's bridging us, right, from Sagittarius, which is Jupiter. So that Jupiterian, it's bridging our consciousness, our constructs, our Christed self into this new age, this new, what we say new age, but it's a new state in which our program, our body, which is the earth aspect, the magnetic, because the sun is the electric. It's 180-degree opposition at all times. So it's the electric and the magnetic aspect of the whole human, the North Pole and the South Pole. Okay, so that's what the sun and the earth represent. So it's a new coding, a new writing of the way in which we perceive and speak and live. So with that bridge, it's really the bridge of perception, the bridge of how we speak and communicate to our reality. That's what I got to say about the winter solstice.
That's all I got to say about that. No, yeah, okay. So what we're illuminating during this transmission is obviously, Carrie mentioned Mercury, we have the sun, we have Earth, Pluto, Jupiter, and Saturn. So you can see that in the mandala, we have these different gates activated. That's because that is what these planets are activating. They're in that gate. And so it's like that 10th archetype energy is going through the sun archetype energy, is going through Mercury archetype energy. And if you weave them together, they create a story, a storyline, a story for us that we are always feeling, but not everybody is consciously aware of them. So the more that you are consciously aware of what is happening with the program or the matrix, you're able to take advantage of your own divine creatorship and decide how you're going to utilize these energies instead of being unconsciously like directed by these energies. Do you know what I'm saying? So it's going to be empowering to be able to understand this, understand this, because these archetypes are within you too. And so if it's mirroring and you're not consciously choosing how you're showing up in the world, you might show up in the shadow frequency. So we have the 10th gate where the sun and Mercury is illuminating, or the sun is illuminating, and that is the gate of the behavior of the self. It's self-obsession, naturalness, and being. And if we're in the shadow frequency, we can see how that self-obsession can come in, the me, instead of coming into your naturalness or your being, which is the I am state.
I feel like there's an echo.
I'll mute myself. Hold on. Whenever we're talking, I'll mute myself, and then when I'm talking, you mute yourself, because for some reason StreamYard likes to make echoes.
Now unmuting. Okay. Now we got that worked out. Okay. So another thing with the being is like, the part of the human programming, right, has been like, do. Okay. I can correct this by doing. And a part of us is like, we want to do. That's what the programming is. So that's what initiation in the 10, right? Gate 10, what we're being asked and really rewritten with is being. See, the divine just has to magnetize it. So the sun being in 10 is, I perceive this. I desire this to create this. And I am going to receive this by being. It's not an initiation of doing anymore. It is a programming that we're releasing and moving forward to with our presence, right? That is ultimate being, is presence. So that is like I think that one of the key factors to take in with Mercury being the alchemist, right? The genetic alchemist. It goes through and it weaves your neurological systems in which the way the body receives its 5 senses or 6 senses or 7 senses or how many ever DNA strands you've got turned on senses, right? It's supernatural senses. And so this programming that Mercury is solidifying here is saying you are being now. You are stamped, triple stamped. You can't double stamp a triple stamp, right? So we're triple stamping, right? With the sun and the earth and Mercury all right here in this channel, in this beautiful connection, that being. It's no longer to do. I believe it, I magnetize it, therefore I am, it is.
Yeah, and if you were to see with these gates, what centers they're in, the 10 is the last time that we're in the G center, which is about self, identity, and direction. And it's a being, right? This is love of the self. We've got love of the self in the 10, love of humanity in the 15. And so this is what's activated here. And you don't have to do to be loved. You don't have to do to earn. You get to just be. And being in your naturalness can be emotion, can be you doing something, but it's just so easy, it's just so fluid, it's just who you are, and it's how you shine and how you magnetize to you. And then we have a bunch of root activity happening as we move into the new year, and the only thing that we're going to be experiencing with Pluto, when that activation comes in the transit activated by the sun, which is in Pluto right now, we have psychosis, inspiration, and sanctity. And this is inspiration that's either from your truth or the higher truth. And it's not like egoic or linked in through like the collective mind of like, let's all be sheeple and follow. That's what psychosis is. It's like, yeah, that sounds like a good idea. I'm not going to take responsibility for myself. I'm just going to do what you are telling me to do. And it's easy to feed into the psychosis of the masses, because where people congregate and collect in groups, it's easy to feel into that psychosis because there's so many people. And that's where the transformation is coming, since that's where Pluto is right now for us. And it's the generational transformation, because Pluto stays in that transit for a while. So it's been in gate 61 for a while now. What would you say about this, Carrie? I think you're muted though.
Yeah, I got it. Now, like, yeah, so Pluto, you know, in where it's located, what it's doing with the psychosis is obviously we've seen the entire, Pluto moved into Gene Key 61 in the beginning of 2020. And so what we see is the mutation, because this is in the sphere of mutation. So what we're seeing, or in the, yeah, go ahead.
I was just saying we're in the quarter of mutation. I was just getting the slide up. Here's the quarter of mutation. Go ahead.
Yeah, so we're in this quarter of mutation, and so what we're seeing, this in my perspective, I'm not a human design guru by no means, but for me, and just seeing it with my perspective, you know, this would be the area of which we are mutating as a species. Okay, this is like where we're really focused at. Like every year, this is, you know, the winter, we're coming into fall and winter, which is all about like the going inward aspect. So that mutation, that's how I see it, is like, this is going to be one of the first quarters, which Ashley said, quarters of what the species itself is actually mutating first, is within this sphere. Or I say it's sphere, just meaning within this radius. Sphere. Anyway. So moving out of sanctity, you know, it's like going into sanctity and moving out of psychosis. It's realizing that this is the holy vessel. This vessel in which you reside is also the vessel of the divine. It is the vessel of the divine. It has been homing. It has been holding and allowing for the programming of the ego to be within it. But it's really transforming, and those people that are doing the work, that their genetics are really, really in tune with this grand awakening, they're the ones that are going to be experiencing that super soul transformation. Super souls, it's not written anywhere. I just made that up, so don't go looking for it. This super soul transformation, okay? And so it's like your soul signed up for this. You incarnated into a specific genetic line, and you put in the, you know, tic-tac-toe, mini, miny, mo, wherever you wanted to have your planets as a soul before you even incarnated into this dimensional plane of existence. So it's not about who's better than who. It's just about, this is where you're at. We just be in this body, in this divine holy of holies, right? And so that's really the birthing. That's that crown. So esoterics, Pluto actually represents the crown, because it's the first ray of will and power, which is, you know, the primary rays that make up the rainbow body. And we're going to get into that. So go ahead.
Yeah. Should we take a step back and then wait, let's rewind a little bit before we get there, because then we'll get ahead of ourselves. But rewind 1 second. We're just going to rewind a little bit. Unless you want to go into the rays now. Do you want to go into the rays since you were about to get there? Give people background knowledge on what the rays are and the human.
We're good. We'll get there. It's anticipation now. Whoa.
Now they're like, oh, were we going there? Wait a second. Okay, this is something that this is something I have a question about, because this is the great conjunction, and when it happened, the MC was in gate 40, which is exhaustion to divine will. And so what would it mean that is activated for us right now? Is rest? Aloneness? Like what?
Well, your MC is like your highest state of consciousness, and it's within your tent. So it's what you're here to do, like your job. So it's like your awareness, right? Clarity, media coli. It's a point. So it's referencing like what we tap into, what field of consciousness that we're tapping into. And it's this Virgo, the Puritan. So Virgo is a beautiful, beautiful exoteric astrology, just kind of mutilated and super bypasses Virgo, but it is the pure of heart. Okay. And so it's the 180-degree opposition of Pisces. So you want to think Pisces is spirit, Virgo is spirit embodied. Okay. And spirit can be really messy. So the Virgos that are like, you know, there's OCD Virgos, and then there's really messy Virgos. Okay. And so those Virgos that are messy, it's like spirit's a child. It doesn't want to put its socks in the dirty hamper. It wants to wear them for 3 days. And they're cool with that.
That's not me.
No, it's not every Virgo. But I'm just saying, so for it being in divine will, so I have that as my radiance. So with that, it's like, where are you putting your will? Okay, so it's the wheel of power. So it's like, where do I will my power? I am presence. I am God. I am divine. I am here. Now, where am I putting? So if we force that If we force our will, then things are not going to be in flow. You're going to have to struggle bus. Like, oh, I got to make 30 different phone calls to get this one person for an interview. I've got to, I've got to run, here, there, and everywhere. And it's a that's what it looks like, a crazy house. Okay. So you're just like, what? All right. So that's the shadow aspect that humanity could be experiencing, which is like what you really see on the grand scale right now. And the collective is like, hey, oh my God, it's a last minute stocking stuffers. I got to get this. I got to get that. I got to So where are you putting, I love that theme song, by the way. So where are you putting your power? Where are you putting your will? Right? And so that divine will and the higher aspect of it is I'm putting it back into myself, because I can will my power into being present in my now moment, into being. And that is the ultimate. That is the message of this, is like, be the divine in presence and take your will and bring it inward. Okay.
Right in. Thank you. Yes, I saw that, and I'm like, look at this geometry happening here, and it's like, hello, let's surrender to divine will. You don't need that last stocking stuffer. I think what you need is to chill out and rest and calm down and get into divine relaxation, because we all also need to be in receptivity, receiving mode, so that we can integrate these energies, because we just left the codon ring of light. We are just being hella activated by all these light codes. And you need to allow yourself time to rest, to retreat, and to integrate, because that integration process is essential for the embodiment process. And if you're going to try to manifest anything in 2021 in the future, you got to allow yourself to kind of like build up that reservoir of energy. It's time to lean back and receive a little bit. And I mean, with everybody in the northern hemisphere as well, with it being winter, that's where we're planting our seeds, and we're in the dark. And we are receiving. And I think that everybody needs to look at, what seeds are you planting? What are the thoughts that are consuming your mind? And are those thoughts seeds that you want to plant? If we're moving into Aquarius, which is also air and then mind, and when we have Mercury illuminated by the sun as well, what kind of seeds are you planting? Are they seeds of self-love? Because if we have this one right here. If we have gate 10, the natural inner archetype, self-love, behavior, empowerment, self-respect, do you have respect for yourself? Do you feel empowered? Are you in the correct natural behavior for yourself and in your naturalness? Do you have self-love? Because if you don't, those are the seeds that you're planting. And then when they sprout up to be like, hey, I'm ready to interact with the world, you're going to bring a lot of people who are going to reflect back to you those seeds that you just planted. And you're going to have people disrespecting you. You're going to feel disempowered. You're going to be doing things that are not natural to you because you're meeting expectations of someone else, and you're hella not gonna, I don't know why I keep saying hella, that's like a Northern California thing, but you're not going to be loving yourself. Open throat, someone's here from Northern California, I don't know. So yeah, and so we're needing to be conscious about the seeds that we're planting, because we're gonna reap what we sow. And then we see that the earth is activated by the wild woman archetype. We need to get outside. Like that's the thing. Like, we need to get outside. We need to ground ourselves. We need to feel back into the rhythms of nature, because we have gone so far into what's not natural for us. And Aquarius is just going to bring us into more of that techie age. And so if you don't know how to ground and center and get back into like the rhythms of nature, you're going to be pulled and consumed into the tech world, which is super frazzling to the nervous system. And if you don't know how to balance, you're going to be in that extreme, right? And we're being pulled in that direction, which isn't a bad thing. There's so many good things that are coming out of Aquarius. But I mean, with the lockdown and everybody being on their computer and trying to connect this way, we're needing balance as well. So is this natural for you? And if it's not natural for you, get outside enough. Make sure you reset yourself. Breathe in that prana that's outside, and put your feet in the grass, because that's what we need. And we're in detriment. The earth is in detriment right now, which means that we're going to be in the negative aspect of this, which is dullness, and also could be that frazzled nervous system energy where you feel like I've just had too much electronics, too much craziness, too much extreme, whatever the extreme that is manifesting in your life is. But the pendulum always swings so that we can self-correct. So if the pendulum's that way, it's going to swing the other way. Just know that, you know? So that's what I got to say about that. And then, I did want to mention this because, I mean, we have Saturn and Jupiter in gate 60, and we call this one the Magician. We've got not this one. This is not right. I didn't change it. But for the Magician inner archetype, this one is all about creating containers for alchemy and transformation to happen. It's linked to the eternal child. The 3 and the 60 come together to create and catalyze mutation. You need to know, what is the integrity of your vessel? Are you leaking energy? Are you in limitation? Are you feeling the limitation of the structures that were put on you? Or do you need to like break down this structure and create your own structure? You are in control of your life, and you're the creator. You're the creator. And so if you need to recalibrate and you need to like break down those boundaries and barriers and restructure them, you can do that, because we're the magicians. We can make magic in the confined spaces. Just like a uterus makes a baby. That's a structure. Just like the engine and how the fuel goes in and then explodes, and it's this explosion that makes the car have the energy to go. Like, there's so many divine vessels, divine containers that transformation and magic can happen in. You're a vessel. So it's important for us to see, where are we leaking our energy? Where are we feeling limitation? And how can we get into realism and justice? Because the 60 is amazing at being able to manifest into form, to manifest what they're wanting, because they know the laws of the universe, you know? So that's where this one is going to be really cool this is what the portal was created by gate 60. And so you're here to either like transcend that limitation and come into realism and become your own magician and create the life that you're desiring, or you can feel constricted and confined and like limited. Which one do you want to feel? Because you get to choose. If you're feeling the limitation, then your outer reality is mirroring what your inner reality is. It's expanding it. Saturn and Jupiter are working together to expand it so that you can learn the lessons, the karma. That karma is just, basically, you have dharma, which is your destiny. Dharma brings you people, situations, experiences. Whatever you do when you are met with these experiences generates the karma. And that karma is just like the thing that comes back around. It's not to punish you. It's just, these are the choices you make and these are the repercussions. These are the consequences, or these are the fruits of your labor, whatever it is. So if you're not conscious of the patterns you're getting yourself into, you're going to keep making the same mistakes over and over again. And you get stuck in the wheel of samsara, and you don't know how to get yourself out of it because you're not mindful enough to recognize, this experience came in, it looks different, but I still made the same choice. So when we have mindfulness and we allow ourselves to rest, retreat, and look back at where we've been, we can recalibrate and say, oh, I'm not choosing that again. And then you become mindful of these experiences that come to you, and you're like, that's similar to what I'm not choosing what I chose before, because that door was not fun. I'm going to choose a different door. So, yes, that's how that works. Kind of went on a crazy.
Talk a little bit about, because you're already there. So open up about, if you don't mind, like stepping into the codon ring of Gaia a little bit, because that's where Pluto and so on the larger scale, we've got the codon ring of Gaia being activated, and 19 is the new human. So it's like these bad boys right here, the bad boys of the hood, they're going through and they're clearing house, right? They're pulling all the things off the walls that don't belong there anymore. Now I'm just visualizing like somebody's house getting vandalized and whatever, but take it as you will. And it's like all of these memories are being like expunged out of your cellular memory. They're cleaning. It's like a cleaning crew within the amino acid of isolene in your. I can never pronounce these words correctly. Okay.
Isoleucine.
See, I have my Chiron and Gemini. Okay, so I make up my own words. I can't read other people's. Okay, so Anyway, so in this, the codon ring here, what we're focusing on is within the structure of all of the collective. So when we have the large bodies, we've got Pluto, we have Saturn, we have Jupiter. They've already been over 61. They were all chilling in there all of like December and November, you know, so they've been ching their way through the codon ring of Gaia. And so this is creating that new human, which is your extrasensory. I'm gonna be real with you today though. I was in line at Walmart because I needed to get something from the Wally World. And I could smell the lady that was like, just pulled her basket up next to me. And it wasn't that she had like armpit smell. It smelled like sourdough bread. And then I remembered one of my clients who's a doctor telling me about like whenever they do light therapy on people that eat gluten. And her basket was like not the healthiest, and I'm not judging, but it just wasn't the healthiest. And I was like, yo, that sense is kicked in. I'm gonna stand on the other side of my basket now. And not to be mean, but I'm saying like the hyper senses, like your hypersensitivity. You know, 19 is the whisperer. So this is like the shaman and the animals and telepathy. And it's like the bridge, it's the natural medium, the shaman. It's the person that bridges between realms. This is my EQ, right? So I was real like lit up in the Wally world. And anyways, and so I was like, wow, so this is really clearing house. Like, you know, we have distortions with, we do not have anymore. I don't believe those programs, gone. And so, but this is where you see Saturn creating these new foundations, Jupiter having higher awareness, all right? So your clairvoyance, psychokinesis, all of these different superhuman abilities, which are us. And they're turned on now, okay? Because Saturn has created that new structure. Okay, that's in 60, and it's realism, it's justice. So justice is about what is just, what is real, what is true for everybody. It deals with the fifth ray, although another one of those are the fifth ray, but it rules with the fifth ray, which is concrete science and knowledge. This is a Venus. Venus rules the fifth ray. And so Venus is always getting the rap that she's some like beauty queen and ishness. It's balance. Justice, what is true, what is mathematical, what is real. And so Saturn has and Jupiter have solidified this within the genome of the entire human structure, those that have activated that level of awareness, okay? And Pluto down there is like, yep, soul's been transferred. Next, okay? And that's the superhuman that's being born. Okay, that's my way of summing it up.
That's perfect. Human, it's coming. Actually, on the mandala, the 41 is the start codon, and it says, okay, manifest into form. 19 is just after it. So it's interesting. It's like, let's start, and then here comes the human, the new human. Anyways, I wanted to show this because this is the 19th door. This is the 19th archetype, which is, I want to show you this because right now we have Pluto activating the 61, and then Saturn and Jupiter activating the 60. 19's over here getting a little lonely, so I just want you to know that the Utarian is here, and like Carrie was talking about, it does have these extrasensory abilities. It's really sensitive to these portals, these energy. They experience sensitivity and energy to different energy fields and patterns. They have increased sensitivity to their tribe. They can have synesthesia, where it's like the ability to merge and join senses that are not usually connected. So being able to taste color, stuff like that. They also have this really like connection to the animal realm and to the fairies. And there's different things that are connected to different senses, like extrasensory abilities, right? So they're going to be able to know what the tribe needs. And these are like basic needs, like survival, like has to do with your home, your shelter, your food, and sex. And those are the basic ones. But when you come into the new human, and what it's evolving into is being very sensitive to the extrasensory abilities and to energy in general. And so like Carrie said, being able to smell things like that is also one of the things. So I think that to be able to tap into the Utarian is going to also allow you to tap into what's best for the earth, what's best for the collective as well. And then if you want, I'll read this. It says, the Ring of Gaia holds the blueprint that all beings that share this planet Earth will eventually once again live in union. The genetic grouping allowance or prevents awareness to move from different life forms and connect all beings on Earth along the same initiatory journey. Through the Ring of Gaia, we can see how our ecosystem system, the living, breathing diversity of the blue-green planet and all its life forms is destined to discover its own inner truth as one entity. This codon ring shows that evolution is a force that is breaking out from inside of us, and that to unlock its secrets, we have only to look inward. All life forms, whether sentient or inanimate, are designed to experience quantum unity and discover its destiny together as one entity. The Ring of Gaia contains the wisdom that everything from the tiniest nanoparticle to the cosmos itself has the same shining jewel of inner truth at its core. Yes, we are all connected. From the earth to the cosmos and everywhere in between, everything is connected. So Gaia is helping us remember that. We are Gaia.
I feel like that's what's bridging us, like what it's going to bridge us into. Like people are like, oh, well, what's happening? What's this? You know, what's the Aquarian age? It's like we have these mamma jammas. We have Jupiter, we have Saturn right there in this codon ring of Gaia. It's solidifying it. It's opening. It's going to start us on the 41, right? That's where the sun's going to move into it. Saturn will move into it. Jupiter will move into it. And that's solidifying and then moves us into the 19, and boom, we're that new human. We're the superhuman. Our superpowers turn on. And that could also be telepathy. It could be trend. For example, just real quick, is like the other night I was laying on my couch and I was laying there in a deep state of meditation. And I really thought that I had I was texting. I was looking at photos on Snapchat, and I sat up to turn my screen on because I thought the screen turned off. And I went like this, and there was no phone in my hand. And my phone was actually on my end table. And I go open my phone. The messages were sent. The pictures, like all of that was already looked through. I wasn't doing it physically. I was doing it through the projection, the astral projection, or like. So I'm just saying these are things that turn on. And whether it's levitation for you, moving through space-time continuums, it has to do with the elementals and how that you're accessing your frequency bands or your DNA strands. And I feel like that's the portal that's like really opening for everybody. I feel like that's what we're moving into. And that's just a perception. It's not, there's the proofy proof. That's just my intuition, which I got gate 43, which is, I know.
Yes. Speaking of I know, tell us about the shift from Capricorn to Aquarius. So what did it mean to be in Capricorn, and what is the shift into Aquarius? And why is it such a big deal too?
So the Capricornian energy is the father archetype. It's a patriarchal. It's like what we've been seeing as, well, daddy said, you know, this is what we gotta do because daddy said to do this. And it's like, you gotta clean your room, you gotta do your chores, right? So it's a external authority. So that, you know, but that's solidified. Like you can't leave home and not know how to pay your bills. Otherwise you're going to end up like a bum on the street. And that's okay too, because that's an experience in itself. I'm not here to judge it because I know a lot of people that have had it hard up. Okay. I'm not to judge it, but I'm saying, like, if you're going to leave home, you want to be prepared, right? As best as possible. And so Capricorn, the energy of Capricorn is about us being solidified within what we know to do for ourselves, how to take care of ourselves. Like Ashley was talking about earlier, it's having that structure, not over planning it, not overly doing it, and creating boundaries, healthy boundaries within yourself, but also, you know, making sure that you have all of your thoughts together, your practice together to ground, to connect, because when we're moved into this Aquarian energy. And so, but also Capricorn is that Christed consciousness. So it's that bridge from the lower realms of man, of the mundane, or what we like to call personality astrology or exoteric astrology. It's the mundane. So this has been like, Capricorn represents us going into the ascended master, your mastery. So you move out of being a disciple, which is the personality aspect, going from discipleship and into the initiate. After you go through your initiation, which is going through Sagittarius and Capricorn, you become the Christed ascended master. Whenever you finished Capricorn and you moved into Aquarius, then you can take in the cosmic mind, the ethers, the vril, the dark matter energy into the body, because you're now sustaining. You know how to set boundaries. You're healthy. You're mentally, emotionally, and physically ready to rock and roll and to move forward in your mastery. And so that's that shift. And it's not just about the physical, it's the mental, it's the emotional, and it's understanding your badassery. Okay. It's understanding what your initiation, what your all of your life gave you. It didn't take nothing from you. It's what it gave you. Okay. Whether it's the school of hard knocks or the school of the silver spoon in your mouth, it gave you something, a lot of things. And it's for you to take that and to make something magical out of it in this third dimension, fourth dimension, fifth dimensional reality. And that's another aspect of the Aquarius, is we are no longer tapping into the third dimension, which is what Saturn was the bridge for, third dimension into the fourth and fifth higher realms. So Aquarius is now dropping us into these ecstatic states. That's the Aquarian. It's the female pouring the water bearer onto, this is intuition. Okay, Aquarius is 11th house of intuition. Okay, 11, this is manifestation. So I into it. I put into it and I believe it. So it brings it into manifestation. And so 11 is about that cosmic mind, the cosmic consciousness. And cosmic consciousness, it could be from it could, like what we call starseed locations, but those are plasma deep within you. Those are your dormant DNA strands, what we call the crystalline or junk DNA, and activating that and having these higher states of connection to the inner planes or the other codons that, I'm not going to get into that because this is not the time, but that is the ecstatic states that we're going to be, able to give other people, because our radiance, our sphere, our aura is no longer held down by the lower chakras of consciousness. It's not to say that they don't exist. It's just that we're not working out of them. We're working out of the God centers and creation. So go ahead.
No, sorry. I was noticing how much you were moving your head by what you're saying, and I want people to see what you're doing with your hands too.
I just talk with my hands a lot.
No, it's good.
So yeah, the higher streams of consciousness are just coming into us, and it, like I said, it's not about like external where it's coming from. We see it, we manifest it as something outside of us, but it's everything that's coming within. The only place you ever have to go is in you, and that's the intuition. And so we're being bestowed with trust yourself, trust the process. I just got a doorbell knock and a ding dong. Or a door knock and a ding dong. So that's a hey, that's good. That's synchronicity right there.
Spirit knocking on the door.
No. Intuition, that. All right. Mute.
Oh, that was awesome. I feel so lit up. And I feel hopeful for where we're going into as well. It really helps us get into like, this shift is good for us. This shift is what we deserve too, and where we're moving towards. And we're so lucky to be able to be on the cusp of this shift as well. It's like we knew what it was like to be over here, and we learned what it was like to be in the world, to be of the world, and to know what it took to be successful here. And now it's like, let's tap into the intuition, the spirit. Let's tap into bringing in that sensitivity into our body. If we have the codon Ring of Gaia, and we have the 60, which is the vessel, our vessel, and we're bringing magic into it, our soul, and we have the 61, which is about truth, the truth, not just a truth. The 61 is not going to be, and that's the mystic archetype. The mystic archetype is not going to be happy with just like one answer, like, oh yeah, okay, it's this because I say it's this. No, but what's the truth? What's the ultimate truth? And so bringing that ultimate truth in our body, bringing that higher mind and bringing that and aligning that with our lower mind, right? So that we have access to that in our body, and we have access to the 19, which is all about sensitivity. So bringing in that inner truth, that sensitivity, all within our divine vessel, that's magic, that's potent, that's crazy, right? And this is what we get to experience right now. And I have light flooding into me right now. So let me bring this back up. And Carrie is probably going to see who was at the door, Carrie. Are you getting a package? Are you getting a delivery?
I got 2 packages, and then I'm winded. And my neighbor Sophia and her stepdad, they wanted to borrow my telescope because the star of Bethlehem is out right now. And so they wanted to use my telescope to see it.
And that's what we're doing right now. So let them borrow your telescope, and we're shining we're putting the telescope on the thing so that people can see what's in the cosmos, and then take the microscope and look at what's inside.
Boom.
Yeah.
I love it. Okay, so we're talking about the esoteric astrology and the rays. So this is beautiful. This is divine. So from from what this represents, and we've seen this a lot in the Pink Floyd shirts, and we're like, yeah, this is the rainbow. It's beautiful, right? Isn't that beautiful? She picked out a really good image of this one. So this is about the white light of Christ consciousness, or source light, streaming into the Trinity, right? So the Mother, the Father, and the Child, which represents the first ray, second ray, and third ray. Those are the building blocks, which the first ray is will and power. This is Pluto and the crown. Second ray is the ray of love, wisdom, and it's Jupiter and the sun. Okay. And this is the heart. And then the third ray is active intelligence, which is Earth and Saturn. Okay, so with a comet, it's like whenever you have your primary colors, your secondary colors, and your tertiary colors, right? So whenever you combine the colors, it makes a secondary. So the 3 make the rainbow body, okay, which make the 7. So from the 1 to the 3 to the 7, which one of the most mystical numbers that you can go look it up, it's 137, 137. From 1 comes a 3, came the 7, which is the rainbow body, or your chakras. And so we are that rainbow body. We are that rainbow bridge. And you can look all this up. This is esoterics. It's where we're moving to. Okay. A lot of people, there are other esoteric astrologers out there. Absolutely. But I studied Alice Bailey and Helena Blavatsky's work. And these to me are my teachers within this. There's other Theosophical Society has a whole bunch of other astrology teachers if you'd like to learn from them. But this is where we're moving from, because this is the inner. This is actually understanding that what we live in is a holographic projected reality. And now we're going inward. Okay, so now I see what I'm manifesting externally. I see my personal reality. Okay, external, which is exoteric astrology, your mundane, like regular way of talking about astrology. And then there's the initiates to the ascended master, and what it means, like the rays and how they function through you. You have six different rays that you work through, and you have a monad, you have a soul, you have a personality, you have an astral, you have a mental, and you have a physical. I think that's 6. Yeah, ray that you work through. And so it's depending on that, also plays into not only your planetary alignment, because they have their rays, or their consciousness, in which how the constellations are implemented this way, and the lights, and how the lights, because the lights come through, Ursa Major. So the white light, source light, is hidden behind Ursa Major, the bear, the Big Dipper. Okay. And then, so Ursa Major represents that first, she's that first ray. Okay. And of the star systems, like the star systems. And then we have the Pleiades, which is the heart. And then we have Sirius, which is like the sun, the spiritual sun. Okay, so, and the 7 sisters of the Great Bear, or Ursa Major, 7 sisters of Pleiades, and then the Sirius system. Okay, and so then all light that's the pyramid, okay, that it comes through. That's the cosmic, that's how the cosmic mind, or source, oneness, consciousness looks down onto. And so the other rays, the ray 4, 5, 6, and 7, these are a combination of rays 1, 2, and 3, and manifest and form through the constellations, whether it's the zodiac, okay, Aries, Taurus, Gemini, all the zodiac. And then from that, it also has its planetary rulership. And those planetary rulerships are how we're beamed with light. We are light. That's all that we are, is light into material, semi-etheric material. Okay, reflecting these streams of consciousness. So it's absolutely beautiful. It gives way more depth and understanding into what your purpose is here. This relates, when you can relate to the rays, then you're relating to the sounds of the music of the spheres, which is within us, of course, always within us. First and foremost, we are the instrument of the divine. it doesn't matter if you can't sing like, oh, whatever. I don't sing like that when I do light language. I come out, you know, sounding like a tribal indigenous woman, like, blah, 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 blah. You know, can't even do it right now. But anyways, it's different in how we all sound. And so when you can see what your ray, your soul ray is, this is where your soul connects to. And like, you're like, oh my God, my soul ray is ray 3. It's active intelligence. It's like, that's why I am so like, you know, get things done. I understand. I'm quick to build, to educate, to align, to move, right? Saturn and Earth, magnetize, solidify. Call it in, double stamp it. Make it happen, Captain. Yeah, that's how we do it. Yeah. We can talk about, we want to move to the next slide. She's like, oh no, I was talking about the ones with the planets. Okay, yeah. All right. What are you saying? You're muted.
My voice was taken away. No, let's go into this. Go into this.
Yeah, because okay, so this makes a big world of difference, and you'll understand it better. So understanding also that the human design gene keys, when Richard Rudd speaks about the Corpus Christi, this is all esoteric healing, esoteric knowledge, esoteric astrologies. So this is not like, it can be that there's a stream of consciousness that somebody's tapped into and bringing the information in, but it's all readily there. You can find it Alice Bailey's teachings. So let's move into this. So Saturn and the Earth, this is where this is what we're experiencing. We got Jupiter, the Sun, Saturn, Earth, Pluto, Mercury. All of these are happening right now. So Saturn and the Earth are the throat chakra here. Okay, so this is the divine speaking, manifesting life into form. Your head center and your ajna, they're places of knowing and places of seeing. They're not of making manifest. It's the thoughts and the vision of them, and then the voice or your throat chakra is what manifested. And that's why they say your words are so powerful, because that is the voice of the divine. So what we see is the solidification here and the magnetizing, right? I solidify, I magnetize, I build it, I say it, I give it structure, I give it form, right? And so we see that is your throat chakra being, that's one of the divine centers. And then we have Jupiter and Saturn, which is the heart, higher heart, love, wisdom. So that's the Buddhic, what we like to call is the Buddhic body, which is it's a body, it's an etheric body from here. But when we talk about Jupiter and Saturn, we're talking about activating that higher heart, so the thymus gland, so the heart moving into the higher heart, which activates and opens up the throat chakra to the God centers. And we have Pluto here, which is your crown chakra, okay, opening up your crown from psychosis to the sanctity. Sanctity is the holy of holies, knowing that you are the body, you are the vessel of the divine. This is the instrument of God, okay? And so it's owning that and opening up to allow the higher rays of consciousness to come in, like flood through, not really come in, they're already there, to open up. It's like being dormant. It's like they say they have the indweller, the sleeping giant, right? Or God consciousness, it just beams in. No, it's already there. You just awaken to it. It's been sleeping. Like Jesus represents Jesus going into the tomb and being asleep for 3 days. This is the time period that we're in right now. So Jesus went in the tomb, he was asleep for 3 days. This is the tomb. Okay, this is where that indweller resides, and it opens up and it enlightenment. This is enlightenment. So all of the neurons and all of the neurocortex and left brain, right brain, and the center, this is all activation here. Okay, Mercury, spinal, root chakra. This is rewriting that spinal column and how we communicate and bypass the ego programming that comes from the lower chakras of the solar plexus, the sacral, and the root, right? But it's moving it in an upward flow. Okay, so from front to back and having contact and connection here, speaking through the divine, coming from the heart. So this is enlightenment that we're seeing here play out with the planets, and what they're activating is the first ray, the second ray, the third ray, and the root. Reconnection, rewriting. So esoterics is really good to understand because it's the ascension or the ascended mastery path. There we go.
Yes. And so having these all in transit, this is what is being worked on. This is what's coming through us. It's these rays are being activated within us, and we're also feeling them. So, like, give a rundown. Like, remember how you were talking about, like, the whole process, like what's happening with the throat and the higher heart and all that stuff. Like, just a recap of all this transit, and this is what's happening.
Yeah. So with the transit, I know I kind of just like, blah, 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 but
we say these planets because they're in transit right now. So we went into those, and they're activating the first, second, third, and fourth rays because those are the ones that we're looking at that are in transit right now. I mean, all the planets are here. It's just we are highlighting these because we have the solstice and the grand conjunction.
Right. So when we're wanting to rebirth and we're going into Gene Key 41, next thing to be moved into, right? So we're wanting to rebirth that. This is what we're looking at. And it's like, what are our planets? What are our chakras? What are they doing? Because that's what the planets are. They're the representation of our chakras, right? As a universe and as a collective and what we're doing, right? So what's happening with this. And we know this takes integration. It's like, yes, things can just happen overnight. Absolutely. I'm never going to say anything about magic just happening, but there's also an integration process, right? So we're gifted with the ability to see. The gnosis is the understanding of what it means. Okay. Instead of seeing it outside of you, now we know it's within us. And so when we look at the planets here and the constructs in which they're aligned to, we see the sun activating, which is the second ray of love, wisdom, alongside with Jupiter. Okay, Jupiter and the sun are the second ray of love, wisdom. And this is a very powerful ray. This is about compassion, being in that presence and love. And so that energy within your chakra system, this is what we refer to in the planetary initiation as the sixth initiation. This is communion. And we also have the North Node in Gene Key 45, which is communion. And it's not on here. I don't think we pulled it up. It is in the other slide, but it's in Gene Key 45. So this is communion. And then we have the South Node in Gene Key 26, So for this heart marketing, right? Coming from that heart marketing place, that gift of presence and being able to it's not about selling your truth, but about speaking your truth and allowing for others to resonate with that. And whatever it is that you're expressing. Okay. So this is union, the North Node over there in Gemini, right? And just right outside of, I don't want to get too much into all this, but this energy, okay? This is the sixth initiation. You can look it up in Gene Key 22. It talks about it, but you can also look it up in Esoteric Healings or in the Corpus Christi. And so this is about us moving into enlightenment for whenever the lower chakras, which are your desires, your attachments, your identity, okay, are released. And you release that aspect of the self, the individual, and you move into the heart or the causal body, okay? You move into the heart and you accept that you are not I anymore, that you are we, and that I am is in everything. So that's the idea of sacrificing yourself, right? You sacrifice the individuality for the collective, for understanding that we are unified. We are a singularity of consciousness, right? But playing individual roles, but we release the individual role, and now we live and we walk by the we or the I am all, okay? And so as that merges within you, within your consciousness, and you embody that more, not just say it, not just hear it, but come to accept it. It's an embodiment that you are spirit and everybody else is as well. And you treat them that way. Like, I'm not going to yell at you because you are me, and I'm not yelling at me. Your words are powerful. So this is the causal body. And what it does is it takes on and it closes the lower chakras, the individual, and it opens up to the lotus right here, okay? Your higher heart, is called the Buddhic, or what we refer to as avatar consciousness. Avatar consciousness is spirit in the vessel, knowing itself as spirit in vessel, in body, having the experience, right? And so we are the avatar, which is representative of all of these deities from the past, whether they're the Indian or or Hindu or Native American. All of these are beings that have accepted and sacrificed their individual needs, wants, and desires, and moved into their acidic states and opening to their superhuman abilities. Okay, so that throat chakra opens up the thymus gland, okay, the higher heart. So the heart merges to the higher heart. Okay, so we have Sun, Jupiter that merge and open. They flower like the lotus, and they open up like a stream of consciousness through the throat chakra, which is Earth and Saturn, up through the crown. And the crown opens to this essential knowing of all that there is, that they are here to play, that everybody is here to play. That is avatar embodiment. That is the sixth initiation. That is enlightenment. And that's what we're experiencing. And that's what the planets, in my perspective, are initiating us into.
That was awesome. If you can like watch this over again, this is like everything you need to know in this however many minutes that Carrie was speaking, but she summed up everything. Whether we're bringing in the planets or connecting the gates, she touched on everything and wove it together, because we're here to be in our naturalness, but at a higher state, realize that I am you, you are me, we are we. And the 26 and the 45 that we have going on in the nodes, it's about using your will for the goodwill of all. It's not using it for yourself. And moving into Aquarius, we got to be in the collective, in the we. And with the codon ring of Gaia, we need to realize that we are connected to the earth, to each other, to the cosmos. Like everything is us. And so treat others as you would like to be treated, because you are treating yourself that way. It's just your awareness and your consciousness is here indwelling in this vessel right now. But you all, I am Carrie, she is me. We're just choosing to be, I'm Ashley right now, but I can be Carrie another time, you know? So that's the beautiful thing about life, is that, I mean, we're choosing to be here. So be present with yourself. And like Carrie was talking about, like the progression of the lower chakras coming up and connecting to the higher mind, connecting to the divine mind, connecting to that I am presence, to that source, and living it here in your presence, in your body. It's also about you, like on a grounded level, and what we're doing on a daily basis is grounding into your core stability. That's about you being anchored in yourself, in your naturalness, knowing what your gifts are, knowing what your genius is, and bringing it to the table, not being held by the expectations of other people and being like, I'll be who you want me to be. No, I'm going to be in my naturalness. I'm going to be who I am. I'm going to be myself. And when you can have the strength of your spine, that's what needs to hold you up. You don't need to tighten your belly and brace for impact. There's no conflict. You're allowed to be yourself here. You're allowed to step through these portals and come into 2021 as yourself. You're allowed to. You have the divine right to be yourself. You don't need to show up any other way. And so you can take that opportunity to just like soften your belly, open your belly up, know that you are open to life. And as you move up, the strength of your spine, you're okay. That's what's going to anchor you. You have your roots rooting you into the earth. You're choosing to be here, embodied in a body, with your talents, with your gifts, knowing who you are, not bracing for impact, not being like, oh, conflict's coming, open. And then you can live with an open heart because you're not going to close it. It's open. And then you have access to speaking your truth through your throat, and nothing is blocking that light coming up and out of you. And people hear that and they can feel your truth because there's nothing impeding it. It has this open channel. Your Ka channel is completely opened up. There's no blockages. You are open to life and you're showing up. And so your light can be fully expressed through you. And people hear your tone. And it's like the song of the universe. You have your own song. And when you can show up in your naturalness, people hear your song. You know, people can tell when somebody's in fakeness. People can tell when there's blockages because it's not going to resound. We're not going to hear it and feel it reverberating in our vessels. when you are in your power and in your core stability, your voice resounds in other people's vessels, and they're like, whoa, that's their truth. Whoa, this is who they are. Like, you can feel the empowerment in your voice because you're not proving yourself. It's just, I am this. And it's just coming through you. And you're open to receive other people as well. You're not needing to block and shield. You hear their song, they hear your song, and you can harmonize together and know that like two people coming together can make a beautiful song as well without one trying to overpower the other. It's not a competition. It's not a comparison. It's like, I'm going to show up and let's see if we can dance together and let's see if we can sing together. And if we can't, then that's fine. I'm not judging you and you're not judging me for it, but let's just see what flows, you know? So, yes.
That was beautiful. I love it. You guys love how she just is like, puts all the practicality to that. I was like, I want to sit over here and go, ooh, 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 ooh.
We've been on for like an hour and 15 minutes, and I really hope this has resonated with you and you've been able to pull out some gems from this. I hope something landed for you and that you got what you needed from here. I trust that you got what you needed from here, whether you feel like you're resonating or not. You're still on here, so something is keeping you on, right? So I know that, I know and I trust that either you received it on an energetic cellular level or like it's in your mind. You're like, oh, I understand. There's something so beautiful about hearing it and like the code clicking and you're like, that makes sense. And then it can drop in because your mind's not trying to protect anymore. It's like key code. Yes, accepted, bring it into your heart, you know, versus like, I don't know if I can accept, where's the proof? What's the logic behind this? It's like, when it makes sense, your defenses drop and you're like, oh, this feels so good. You know?
The relaxedness, you get relaxed.
Yes.
I love it. Well, I want to thank everybody for being here and in this space with us and, you know, happy solstice. I don't think I've actually said that. Happy solstice.
Happy solstice, happy conjunction, happy portal.
Yes.
New.
Yes. Thank you guys, everybody, for being here. I love you all so much. Thank you, Ashley, for hosting this beautiful experience and opportunity to speak to a wider community and connecting with all of these beautiful energies. I love you guys so much. And I really wish you the best in this manifestation time. Again, the Star of Bethlehem is happening, and the North Pole, the South Pole, that energy, that's the plasma storing within you. So allow time and for that plasma body to come through. Will that.
It is so. Divine will is making it so.
That's where the EMC is.
Yes. Allow for, and you know what's crazy? In the Venus immersion, we were doing our paintings or whatever, and I stopped here in the transit of divine will because it just hasn't come yet. Nothing has come through yet, so I couldn't continue on. And I'm like, it's here, it's now. I can feel like the completion, so it feels really good to like be here and just relax and allow to receive whatever is meant to be is going to be. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to prove anything. It's happening. It's done.
It's done. It's done. Divine order, communion. It's done.
Yeah.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. I love it.
And on that note, blessings to you and love to you, and have a wonderful holiday